Peace to the saints. Today we have a special guest here. Gentleman sent me a DM. He said, hey, I'd like to talk EBT. And I said, okay, we can talk EBT. So I would like to yield the floor for the gentleman to introduce himself, and then we'll go from there.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, name's Cameron. Just wanted to have a conversation about it. My views on EBT are similar, but a little bit different, and just regards to how everything's happening and how everything's been taking place. I think the way and the manner in which it happened is going to cause major disruption. I don't think it's going to be beneficial to anybody, really, in regards to how it happened.
Okay. Mind you, folks, as we go through the conversation, you can use the information below to share a comment or a question, a criticism, or a compliment to myself or the gentleman. So feel free to do that and keep engaged. I thank those of you who do support the work. So you said that you don't believe it will be beneficial to anyone. Is that true?
Maybe not everyone. It won't be beneficial to majority of the people who are on it.
Aha. Now, what could the benefit be that they're missing out on?
Food, essentially food, you know.
Curious. So is your suggestion that they're going to starve to death if they don't get their EBT? You might consider putting the phone on Do Not Disturb. It'll stop you from being interrupted.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. Let me see.
While you're doing that, shout out to Jefferson, came in via Venmo, writes support. I appreciate you. Shout out to those real men who stand up, make their name known. Shout out to Mr. Chambliss. He writes, shout out to the chat EBT. Yes, indeedy. So is your suggestion that these individuals who are on EBT are going to starve to death?
I didn't say they were going to starve to death. I didn't say they were going to starve to death. I just said it wouldn't be beneficial.
Okay. And that's okay. Sometimes things aren't beneficial. You ever been in a relationship that wasn't beneficial? You get out of it, you make a change your behavior, maybe?
Yes, that is true. I agree that being in something toxic can make it worse. And I agree that EBT should not be a permanent thing. It should not be a permanent thing, but we've already put tax dollars towards it. You know what I'm saying? There's already money put towards it. So where's it getting reallocated to?
Well, that's really not the important piece right now. That's a different conversation. And I think that we probably need to reduce the size of government tremendously, including the size of the military, which would probably require that we remove the type of leaders we have who are obsessed with allocating our dollars for their own personal pursuits or for the benefit of the plutocrats. But while we're talking about EBT in particular, it is no explanation of why we should keep it because, well, if we don't use it on EBT, we're going to use the money on fill in the blank other thing that's bad. No, we have an opportunity to remove something that is detrimental. We should remove it. That's number one. And number two, we have to look at the fundamental discussion, which is it the mandate of government? Is it the purpose of government to take my money by force, to reallocate it and give it to someone else who's less productive, who's less of a value add in the society? Absolutely not. Government is supposed to build roads. It's supposed to have a standing army to protect us. It's supposed to have public education that's compulsory just to make sure people can add to the society. But it is not government's responsibility to take my money. Actually, remove the part about public education. I'm against that too now. And mind you, I was a public school teacher and I was a public school student all the way up through the end of bachelor's.
So we are in America. It is a democratic society. They have Republicans, but it is a democratic society.
It's a republic.
It's a republic.
In name. It's a republic in name. It's a plutocracy in function.
All right, but in name, you can say it's a republic. But most of what they practice is through, what they preach is democracy.
That is what they preach. That is correct.
That is what they preach. So if they're preaching democracy and they're preaching, okay, we're going to do this as a democracy, meaning, and it's already has some of the structure for it. So what you're saying is basically, if you want to take away that, you might as well dismantle the whole system, is what you're saying, essentially.
No,
but
what I'm
that's
saying
not
is
really benefit.
what I'm saying is that the government is extremely bloated and it needs to be reduced dramatically. And this is one opportunity to reduce social programs. I shouldn't say social programs, more accurately, entitlements, particularly those that do not give back to the society. Government takes your tax dollars and it's supposed to be put to the common good. The fact of the matter is that's a bad investment. If we look at it as a business person, you ask yourself, would I want to allocate dollars to those who are struggling? No. I mean, look at the banks. Do banks lend to people who need money or do they lend to people who can repay money? That's because
That's
they're
true.
using logic.
That's true. But when the EBT and the Medicare system is more so like a grant, so the goal is for them to take care of people that aren't able to take care of themselves. That's the whole point of it. I think the argument is that people should learn how to take care of themselves. That's the argument the other side's making. You said people should know how to take care of themselves. You should be able to
As
sustain
adults,
yourself.
as an
Exactly, as
adult.
adults. So
Yes.
what I'm saying is it's more of an truthfully, it's more of an education problem. You know what I'm saying? It's not about our spending power. You see it's more of an education problem. They're not educated in the manner. They don't know how to take care of themselves.
What
You
if
see
they
what I'm
do know how
saying?
to take care of themselves? What if they do know how to take care of themselves and they've made a rational calculation that life is better to live on the public dole instead of going to work 40 hours a week? You know, you sit back and say, okay, well, if I have 2 kids and I can scrape up a little bit of welfare from the government, I can scrape up a little bit of child support from 2 baby daddies. Well, then I can kick back, make TikTok videos, get my nails done, my hair done, and have money for my fake eyelashes, and all my food bill is covered, and Section 8 is subsidizing my housing. I have a life of leisure. So I'd rather do that than get a job and have to report to the same place every day, 9 to 5, and deal with some kind of a boss and have to follow his rules for 40 hours a week. That's a rational decision.
If that's the decision they're making, but there's no way of actually knowing that's the decision that they're making. You can't just say just because someone's on Section 8. From what I've seen, most of my operations and most of my interactions with them, the majority of them are ignorant. You know what I'm saying? The majority of them are ignorant. They just don't know any better. Most of the time, even with crime, most of these things are due to ignorance. I think it's an educational problem. I think, if anything, they should reallocate that money and put it towards their education.
Well, I think that you're a person who probably is not getting significantly taxed, number one. And then number two, you're not a producer in the world, because producers, being that you work hard and you create, you're a builder, you know what it takes. And you also know that there are other people who decide not to do what it takes. And frankly, it's not my responsibility to pay for the poor choices of other persons. For example, if I wanted to purchase a Bugatti, so I go ahead, buy the Bugatti, and the next month I can't pay the bills for the Bugatti. Is that your responsibility? Should you give me social welfare to help me pay for my car?
No, not at all.
Why not? Why not?
Because that was a personal decision you took to get your car.
Personal
Now,
decision. I like it. Now, 1 second. That was a personal decision. So if you go and have kids that you can't afford, was that a personal decision?
Yes.
Yes, it was a personal decision. Great. So now we can apply your logic and state that everyone is responsible for their personal decisions. Now, here's the kicker. What's more of a serious personal decision? Me buying a Bugatti or someone having children that they can't afford? Which is more serious?
Definitely the children. Definitely
The children,
would be
right.
more serious
Now,
than.
so here's the kicker. If you allow people to take a serious decision lightly, make the wrong decision, and you create a safety net for them to continue making the wrong decision, well, damn it, they're going to jump. They know it's a safety net, so they're going to jump. When you remove the safety net and they start to see the consequences of the decision, human beings are rational actors and they will behave rationally. The idea that they're ignorant is ridiculous, in as much as they're so good at navigating the government and the government benefits. And government is slow, inefficient, and hard to deal with. So the fact that they even know how to get Section 8, they know how to get EBT, SNAP, and all these things, they know something. So the other problem is that we're destroying human society by doing the opposite of survival of the fittest. We're ensuring survival of the weakest, the dumbest, the laziest, the irrational. And I would much rather donate that money, that extra tax money, to the kids who are ambitious as opposed to the people who cannot decide if they should wear a condom or not. And then that's strike one. Then strike two, they forget to take the morning after pill. That's strike two. Then strike three, they didn't decide to terminate pregnancy knowing that they couldn't afford it. Oh, and then strike four, they didn't decide to give the child to another family that can actually provide a proper home. I don't think that it's good to ensure that that keeps happening.
So in regards to that, I see what you're saying in regards to the babies and, the abortions, if that's your view on that. Everybody who is on EBT is not generally just folks who have kids. It's households that live together. So if you have 4 or 5 people in your household, everybody who lives in the household, then you can get EBT. So say you have a grandmother, say 6 people live with their grandmother. The grandmother gets EBT for the 6 children. You see what I'm saying? If you cut that
I do,
EBT
and I think that's
off,
ludicrous. If there's 6 people in that household, they should be able to pay for themselves. You see, because when you buy in bulk, or when you have more people living under a roof, you have higher level of income. It's more cost efficient to live together. How do we know? Look at immigrants when they come to America, particularly look at Hispanohablantes. Look at the Mexicans. They come here. They don't have benefits most of the time. And they figure it out.
They get benefits.
It's not.
They all get,
no,
they get benefits.
No, you're right. You're right. In some cases they do. In many cases they don't. But here's the point. Either way, it's not my responsibility. Why are you taking my money to give to someone else? Like, why do I owe them? Can you explain that part? That's a fundamental argument.
I can agree with that. All right. So based on that logic, but that's not, I see what you're saying. And I actually agree. I actually agree with what you're saying. You should not allocate that money, but then what's the point of taxing it? So we've already paid the taxes. So where do you think it should be allocated to? You see what I'm saying?
Number one, it's just like a corporation. If you don't use the money, you pay out the shareholders. Pay out the shareholders. There's something called tax returns. Return the damn money. Or build things that are to the common good. The United States has low PISA scores. The United States lags behind in science and mathematics accomplishment. Invest in extra education, invest in early childhood education, invest in better infrastructure, which we're greatly in lack of, invest in innovation. Why do we not have self-driving cars already? There's so many things that need to be invested in that are non-military and non-social welfare. So no, I don't believe we should give the money to the least productive elements in society and ensure that we're doing the opposite of survival of the fittest and the opposite of positive eugenics. I'm absolutely against it. And there's no logic as to why I should be stolen from.
So
the funny thing. Oh, go ahead. I yield the floor.
So I agree with a lot of what you say. I think the biggest thing, there are things called tax returns, but I agree in regards to, I do agree that the average human, I don't think just because a lot of it is their education. So criminals have a crime education. They might not know how to do, I'm trying to think of a good example. They might not know how to do one aspect when it comes to mathematics. They might not know algebra. They might not know things, but they might be crafty engineers. They might be able to create things. So a lot of it is based on their education status. So just because, you may have a different type of brain, you may just be a different type of individual. You may just be a much more efficient individual.
Are you talking about
much more? I'm talking about anybody in general.
When
it
you
could
say
be you, I could be talking about me.
Okay, because that's a good question. Because when you say you might be, so this is my book called The Black Box. This is my true story here. This is my testament. You mentioned people get a criminal education.
I read it.
You read it?
No, I haven't read it, but I
Okay.
saw it. I'm a little familiar. I know you went to Johns Hopkins. I was actually born in Baltimore.
Okay, shout out. So I'll tell you this. You mentioned a criminal education. When I was born, my mother was on dope and my father was in prison for selling dope. Do you think I maybe got a criminal education? Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yes. And it was no one else's responsibility except my family. And then when I came of age, my responsibility to make a way in this world. It was no one else's responsibility.
But I'm sure even by yourself, I'm sure you had help, because nobody can do it by themselves. You had to have had some type of education, a coach, a mentor, somebody had to look out for you, or else you would have never got
Yes,
that
and that's called
education.
civil society. That's called civil society. There's a word for it, civil society. For example, if you stop stealing millions of dollars from me in taxes and then allocating them to the least productive elements in society, what'll happen is I'll have that extra $1 million. I'll either utilize it in consumption, or more likely I'll utilize it in philanthropy. And I'm an effective allocator of capital. That's why I have capital. So it would be much smarter to have the government allow productive, wise investors to invest their money, as opposed to the government, which is inefficient, cannot balance a budget, poorly invest the money. So you leave it to civil society. If you leave me with my millions of dollars, if you have headphones, pop them in. If you leave me with my extra millions of dollars instead of stealing it in taxes, then I can say, okay, you know what? What do I see as problematic in the society? Okay, I come from a part of Los Angeles. I saw there are a lot of single mothers. I think that's problematic. I'm going to donate my money to this church, which supports single mothers with children. Cool. What else do I see as problematic in this society? I think that mathematics and software engineering are critical areas of study that are underemphasized in poor neighborhoods. I'm going to invest in a program like that in West Baltimore, which I did. Side note. What else do I see is going on? I will allocate it and I will make better decisions than the government. You see, if the government was so clever, they'd make money and they wouldn't need to take money. If the liberals were so clever, they'd make money, they wouldn't need to take money.
I agree, but I agree to a point. Like, for example, the healthcare. If you go to healthcare, healthcare for the general population, for the general workers, healthcare is considered very expensive, even with the insurance. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you go to a country like Colombia, healthcare is free.
When you
So
do
healthcare is free
comparisons like
because
that, those are very difficult, because let me ask you, do Colombians try to get into America, or do Americans try to get into Colombia?
Colombians try to get into America.
Get into
That's
America.
true.
Okay, great. So you need to pick a superior system to make this comparison.
I won't say that America's system's superior. I would just say that it's been functioning. It has more function. It's been functioning in a much longer time. And
okay, well, if
they've
their
just
system is
had,
superior, why don't you just tell the people who need healthcare to go live in Colombia? Problem solved. Why don't they just go down to Colombia?
I see the argument you're making in regards to that, but I'm not saying America's system. There is no perfect system. America has flaws
Correct.
in certain aspects of it, and other countries have flaws in different aspects of it. So there is no perfect system where you can just say these people are superior. You can say their finances are superior. There's more money
No,
in
you can
America,
definitely say
but
that
the
certain
culture,
systems are
it may
superior. For
not
example,
be superior.
if we looked at Singapore, I think that they have a superior system in the way that they manage their taxes. If we look at the United Arab Emirates, I think they have a superior approach to capitalism. I think they have a superior approach to real estate. There are various systems we can identify superiority. If you look at Europe, I think they have a superior approach to consumer protections. If you look at Africa, I think they have a superior approach to organic food. So yes, there are superior aspects, and in some cases there are superior systems. But what I'm saying is that if Colombia was so much better off and they did things better, then just tell the people who need healthcare to move on down to Colombia. But they wouldn't want to go, because the system that is created by the government in totality, they might give you some freebies, but overall you're suffering. Overall, it's bad. That's why Colombians come to America. You don't usually have Americans moving to Colombia unless they're wealthy or they're these dorks who are trying to go down there to get cheap vagina. That's about it. I yield the floor.
So I would say that from the individuals I've met from and the women I've met from Colombia, I don't think Colombia is very open to foreigners like that. They're not going to treat a foreigner the same way they treat their own people.
Have you been to Colombia?
No, I have not. I have not been to Colombia.
I've been to Colombia at least 8 times. And I haven't just been to the places where the women sell themselves, like Medellin. I've been around Colombia. I have a good friend who lives in Cali, whom I've known for many years. I've been to Bogota. I've been to, name it, I claim it. So the police are wildly corrupt in Colombia. Women selling themselves is everyday stuff. It's not even shameful. Trust me, you might want to visit first. You absolutely might want to visit first. And that's the problem, you see.
So even
like that's the problem, is that you have persons who are either academics, they live in here, or you have people who are idealists. They idealize certain things, but consistently they lack the experience, which is why I always say that it's wiser to be a business, or it's wiser for us to elect successful, experienced businessmen who have morals to run the society, because most people are talking about things, but they don't understand it in a practical sense.
Yeah, I've traveled a lot. I just haven't. I've been to a few places in South America. I just haven't been to Colombia. So Colombia just has. I've been meaning to go, but it just seems. It is. It is. I could use a country I could use as an example would be. You could say Dubai. You could say Dubai. Dubai's
not a country.
Very developed. The city. Excuse me. You could use a different country. You could use a different country. A different example of a country to use would be Tokyo. You could use Tokyo as an example.
Sure.
Tokyo is very advanced in certain ways. They have a very clean culture. They might not have a bunch of capital. You know what I'm saying? They might have a bunch of capitalism, but they definitely have a clean culture. And their biggest thing is they don't want the culture of Americans to swander over into there. They don't want the culture of just different people to take away from Japanese culture. Doesn't mean other cultures aren't beneath them. It doesn't mean other cultures are beneath them. It just means that they're
actually, that is the reality. That is the perspective. And if you look at the history of Japan, you mentioned Tokyo, which is a city. Again, if you look at the history of, you will actually see that they, as far as Asians go, they have been perhaps the colonial Asians, and they've certainly taken a superior view of other Asians. And they closed off their ports for some time because of the idea that they are a special type. And, they are a remarkable people. But there is no way that one tries to protect their culture if they don't think that their culture is highly valued. You can find the places where people don't protect their culture, and that they don't view their culture as something superior. You look at South Africa, and you look at the Xhosa or the Zulu or all of the South Africans there, the Black South Africans, and you see that they have no regard for their culture. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a taxi in South Africa, whether we're talking about Durban, Cape Town, or Joburg, and I asked them, like, hey, what tribe are you from? They're like, I'm from the Tonga tribe, or like name something random I never heard of. I said, oh, did you guys ever have a king? And they'll be like, I don't know. They don't even have self-respect. So there's never a case where a group of people is trying to protect their culture and they don't think that it is very good and superior. It's just not the case. They might not say that because it's rude and impolite, but there's no doubt that they believe it.
Anybody who has a culture, who actually has the backing of an actual culture, not a fallacy culture, you will, of course, support your culture. That's just natural. You know what I'm saying? That's just natural. Anybody, if you're in Singapore and Singapore has a culture and the way of doing things, you're going to say, okay, I want to maintain Singapore culture. If you're in Colombia, you're going to want to maintain Colombian culture. Everybody has support of them.
We've kind of moved on to a different topic. So are you yielding that? Are you yielding that we are agreed that we should stop all subsidized healthcare? Because that's what I want. I want to stop all subsidized healthcare 100%. I'll tell you why.
So let me ask you this: what would be the alternative
to subsidized healthcare?
Yes,
it'd be this alternative. Like, if I wanted this book, I don't wait for the government to buy it. I just go on Amazon, I type in the black box, buy Marquett Devon Burton, and then I just buy it. If I want this lip balm, I just go and buy it. You see, the government is here to do the things you can't do. For example, I have a road in front of my plantation, and when it rains, the road gets flooded such that you can't really drive. Well, you could drive if you had a truck, but I have a Maybach, and I don't want to drive a Maybach through like a deep flooding road. And so I reached out to the government. I said, hey, I need you guys to level off this road so it doesn't flood. And they said, okay, sure thing. They didn't do it. We had to call them back like 7 or 8 times. And, eventually every time we call back, I was like, hey, by the way, I pay the most taxes of any property owner in your county. I'm going to need you to fix the road. Now, if they didn't steal my money in taxes, I could probably hire some folks, but it's so much easier for them to fix the roads because they have institutional knowledge and experience with roads. And also, it's not going to be a road just for me. It's a road for the public. You go down that road, you can also get to another plantation farther down to deliver packages and things like that. So it's a common good, the road. I don't mind paying taxes to maintain the road, even though other people will drive on it. It's not something I know how to do. I don't know how to fix roads. What I do know how to do is buy something on an open marketplace where there's competition. Healthcare is something you can buy on an open marketplace with competition. And therefore, that's where we should buy it. Now, Marquett, why don't you want to pay for the healthcare of other people? I don't want to pay for the healthcare of strangers because they have disgusting habits that I'm completely against, and they try to take themselves out. They take their own lives in the slowest, most unfortunate manner. Drugs, cigarettes, vapes, coffee, lack of exercise, excess sugar. So you expect me to pay excess health costs because these people hate themselves? I will not do it. If they'd like to experience a slow death, have at it. But I'm not going to subsidize slowing down a death that they're pushing forward. Absolutely not. Healthcare is something easy for us to purchase.
So your look on healthcare is more Eastern. You feel like people should maintain themselves the same way they should maintain
That's not Eastern. That's common sense. That's called health. And that's what I teach in this ism: health, wealth, relationships. That's what I teach. Health, wealth, relationships. I say exercise is prayer. 30 minutes of sweat every day. That's what I do for my community, the saints within our culture. We require exercise every day. That is true medicine. It's an investment in yourself and your own future. But what I will not do is I will not pay the bill for someone else who did not want to invest in taking care of themselves. It's a ludicrous concept. Someone asked, am I still demonetized? Give me one sec. A gentleman says, are you still demonetized? Yes, I am still demonetized. If you want to support the work, you can use this below because we do put on a good show and it does cost money. Absolutely, it does, and time. Let me answer your questions momentarily. May I acknowledge Frank comes in using the Stripe link below. And shout out to Mr. Tabit as well. Use the Stripe link in the description of the YouTube video. Shout out to Mr. Pawan. Comes in via Venmo. He writes, peace of saints. Congratulations on episode 2 of Burton Plantation. The writing, the acting, and the directing have been great. Also, the recent debates continue showing your logic is undefeated, sassing or nothing in a real way. And if you guys haven't checked out Burton Plantation episode 2, I self-financed it. I paid to fly people in. I paid for all this stuff. And I would be thankful if you would not only watch it, but share it and support it if you can. Just type in Burton Plantation episode 2 into YouTube or go to the YouTube channel called Marquett for Women. And now let me answer your question. You said, what about cancer? Cancer is an unfortunate thing. Cancer has probably touched many of our lives, many families, friends, our colleagues. And cancer is something that will require treatment. It may be expensive, and that is precisely why adults should have a savings rate. You should save money. You make money, you should also save money. If we take away these taxes, think about it like this. If you're a person who's being taxed and the government is taking a portion of your check every month, and then we stop the government from taking that portion, now what happens? You get to keep that portion. You save it. In addition to that, you have a mother, you have a father, you have a brother, you have an uncle, you have a grandmother. Do they all have cancer? Absolutely not. And if they're all saving, when you experience something catastrophic, if you've been a good person, then the community will come together and pool their resources to take care of you. And that's how family and tribes and communities have always worked. And if for some strange reason, between the 10 people who care about you and love you, you can't get that money together, and you will appeal to civil society, and some of the patrons in your society will take care of you because you are one of them and people vouch for you.
A couple things. I'm definitely going to check out your, I've seen the clips for the YouTube for the Burton Plantation. I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but I've looked at it. It looked like it was really good. I have looked at it. But to your point, cancer is expensive, bro. It's like $500K.
I don't
if your
think it was
average
that.
family is only
Honestly, I don't think it's that expensive. But let's check. Let's check. Let's see if that's true. Keep talking. I'm listening to you. Like
so
which
I
cancer
think
do you want to pick? Like I'm going to look up the most common
let's
cancer type
let's
and then the treatment.
let's do
Keep
that.
talking.
I think
Keep going.
based on it, if the average person makes about 40,000 a year, if you make about 40,000 to 50,000 a year, even so that's about roughly I don't know what like 2-3 grand a month. It's not nothing incredible. It's like 2-3 grand a month. Rent, bills you have to pay. Say you're able to say 10 people put together 500 a month. They're saving 5,000 a month. And if that could happen, that is actually theoretically that could
Do you mind if I
work.
give you the
You know what
numbers?
I'm saying? Yeah.
Do you mind if I give you the accurate numbers? Because you
No,
said
no,
half
no,
a million, and I knew that was ludicrous, like truly ludicrous. So, anyways, I typed in what's the most common type of cancer. It gave a list for males and females. So, since we're both men and most of the audience is men, I just looked at the first one listed for men, which is prostate cancer. And then I typed in what is the total cost to treat prostate cancer, and it says total cost can range from 10,000 to 135,000. And that's on the high side, of course. It mentions, and that's for surgery, which may not be required, right? That's like worst case scenario, 135,000, but that's surgery. If you did radiation, that would be 3,000 to 14,000. If you did chemo, that would be 5,000 to 100,000. So the worst case scenario, it'll be $135,000. Now, here's the thing to consider. Prostate cancer is not something you're usually getting as a child. You're usually going to get it advanced in life. So what you're telling me is that if you have two parents, which is typical, and then they have at least 3 kids, which I believe is a minimum of kids, you should replace yourself and always have the extra one, right? Just in case. I personally think all of the good peoples of the earth should have as many kids as possible. It's the dirtbags that keep having kids, unfortunately. But anyway, so you have 3 kids. So between 5 people, and then you get prostate cancer, usually not when you're young. Let's say you get it when you're 40. You get it when you're 40. So you as an individual had 20 years worth of saving, and you had 3 siblings who had approximately 20 years worth of saving. That's 60 years worth of saving. Don't forget about compounding. And your parents had a whole lifetime of saving, at least 40 years. So that's over 100 years of money saved. You're telling me 100 years worth of money saved? You can't pay for the cancer treatment? Like, come on, Brody, give me a break. You don't want to pay for it. You want somebody else to. It's 100 years,
I think
not including compounding. It'd be easy.
I think things come up though, so most of the time you're not going to have one emergency in a family. You're going to have multiple emergencies throughout that family's life. Like my mom's
like a flat tire here and there. Yeah, things like that, right? But you're not going to have like 3 cancer scares.
Not 3. No, you ain't gonna have no 3 cancer scares, but you could have broken
Most
bone
families
here,
are going to
school
have
education
0.
here.
Most families are going to have 0 cancer scares. Most are going to have 0. And then some might have 1. Worst case, some might have 2. So here's what happens. You live in a community, and if you have a cancer scare, you take care of it with your family. And beyond your family, you have community. Do you believe that if you and I lived in a community, which by the way, I'm building a community at Burton Plantation for those of you who really mess with this ism, you can buy 2 acres. We've been selling 1 acre, but we're talking to the county right now. They're saying we got to sell 2 acre parcels. 30,000 is for the 1 acre. We'll figure out the pricing for the 2 acre. But anyways, I just want to let people know I do all the things I'm talking about. Like, I'm not a theorist. I'm a pragmatist. So anyways, we live in a community, right? Thank you, sir. And let's say you have kids. I have kids. You and I both move into the community as adults, childless. You have your old lady. I have my wives. We have probably like 12 kids. You have however many normal amount of kids someone would have, 2, 3. My kids grew up with your kids. Our kids are now in high school. One of your kids go off eventually to college. They come back, whatever the case is. And I hear that your son, Cam Jr. ends up with cancer. You guys are bankrupting yourselves to pay for it. Oh, you think I'm going to just sit by and act like I don't know what's going on? I'm going to just pretend. Hey, man, good luck with that. You don't think I'm going to say, hey, bro, I'm going to write you a check for everything I can write you a check for because I've known your son as long as I've known my own son. I coached your son in boxing. I coached your son in fencing. I know your son as well as I know my own son. And you know what? I got 30,000 to write a check. I know it's not enough, but we got so-and-so next door and so-and-so next door, and I could borrow this from my grandma. We're going to pull it together because your son's life is on the line. That's how community works. I mean, like, I don't know why we're acting like, because here's what people forget. The government is just doing that for you. That's what they're doing. They're pulling people's money together. You can't pull together your own money. Like, it's so unmanly. That's what I'm telling people is like, be a man. The government's not your daddy. The government's not your father. The government's not even your boss. It's supposed to be your servant, but you've been accustomed to the government being your boss. Come on now. I yield the floor.
No, you got some good points. I'm not gonna lie, you got some really good points. No, that's true. I agree. Community, a lot of times, especially I'm blessed to be around a good community that'll look out for me, so I can actually agree with you on that point. But I know a lot of people aren't, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people in lower neighborhoods, they don't have a good community. I know a lot of people get stolen from. A lot of people try to invest in things and they get stolen from, they get taken advantage of. And I guess I was just more so advocating for those individuals. I was more so advocating for those individuals.
Why? I'm going to let you ponder on that why. Shout out to Heels In, supporting the work, came in via Venmo. May I also acknowledge Constantine supporting the work via Venmo, writes tuition. Shout out to Mr. Ruffin, writes Peace of the Saints tuition, Sass in Miami, in a real way. May I also acknowledge Reginald. He writes, they know exactly what they're doing. There is no excuse. The welfare system in many families is passed down like generational wealth. There are no pros in this argument. Peace of the Saints. I'm trying to tell you, man. May I also acknowledge Wayne. He writes Peace of the Saints tuition. Shout out to Jonathan. He writes, I owe a lot more tuition. Watching your Insta live right now from the UK. Been watching your content for a long while. Priceless game on so many levels. I am working on becoming a true saint. Wish you the best all day, every day. Peace of the Saints, big homie. I appreciate you. And shout out to the young boys out there getting their education. It's a beautiful thing. Now, so acknowledge Calvin writes Peace of the Saints came in via PayPal. And shout out to those people who actually support the work. It means a lot. As you guys know, I was demonetized for speaking against genocide. These are trying times that we live in. So I appreciate the support. And you were about to explain to me why you think that you are Captain Save 'em All.
Not Captain Save 'em All, but, you know, people have, like you said, people in the past have worked hard, even with your backstory. People must have worked hard. Somebody worked hard to make sure you got to where you are. It's only right to try to give back to those.
It was mostly me. To be honest,
nobody, like, you didn't have any. What about like you ain't have no coach, nobody giving you any type of guidance? Because most of the people I know who ain't got no guidance, and most of them end up in jail. Yeah, everybody has guidance. Yeah. You know, you've had to have had somebody mentor you.
And that's my whole point. That's my tribe, not the government. You see, like, for example, when things go bad, I don't call 9/11 at all. In my whole life, and I've seen a lot of things go bad, I never called 9/11 because they are the enemy. They always have been, and from the looks of things, they always will be. I never one time called 9/11. If I have an issue, I'm either going to grab that UWAP or I'm going to call the homies. That's the only things I've ever resorted to my entire life. I rely on my tribe. I take care of them. They take care of me. Now, what you were mentioning earlier, you said, well, what about the people in the ghetto? Now, mind you, I grew up in the ghetto, so I don't know what you're talking about. But you're saying, well, what about the people in the ghetto? Well, once they realize that the government is not going to be there to put its breast in their mouth, then they are going to behave rationally. And the men of the tribe will establish order. A chief will emerge, hierarchy will be set, and things will proceed from there. That's natural human organization. And it's the shameful reality of the Black male that he lacks such masculinity that he wants some stranger to take care of him as his father. It's like, no, we can do this ourselves. I don't need the government. Most of the things they do a terrible job. You ever been to the DMV? You got to go there all day just to get a freaking plastic card. They don't even give it to you. They mail it out to you. Whereas in other countries, they'll print it right there on the spot and hand it over. I'm not going to leave anything of importance to the government. It's ludicrous.
No, I agree. No, I definitely. Yeah, I agree with what you said.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I apologize.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the idea is that once they stop taking care of them, the tribes will come back and people will start looking out for each other the way they used to.
Absolutely. There will be some small amount of pain, but there can be no birth without pain. And we are birthing a society wherein men live as men, women live as women. Right now, we have Black females in mass behaving in the most despicable ways. We have Black males behaving in despicable ways as well. And once these women realize that the government is not going to control and dictate to grown men and force child support and force alimony, then they're going to start choosing men not based on sexual passion, not based on him being the bad boy in the neighborhood, but based on him being one who is reliable and is going to stick around. And what's more, women will be obedient. Why? Because your man will be your true protector. Right now, Black women see the government as their protector. Your man will be your true provider, not only of finances, but also of knowledge. Right now, Black women see the government as their provider. Yes. And they have yielded to a broken culture that was created in reaction to displacing the male outside of the family. So I am more than willing to endure this small amount of pain as things adjust. And I think, frankly, in a country as wealthy as this one, with civil society and all of the things that help people who are struggling, it'll be easy. Because here's the thing, and I've been poor before. I was born poor. I've been homeless before. And one thing that I can tell you that I will never forget, ever, when I was homeless and I was looking for a place to stay, every time I called a shelter, it said it's for women and children every single time. And here's the kicker. Most of them I called, they had beds, they had accommodations, but they were not for men. They were for women and children. They tell me it doesn't matter if you die. It doesn't matter if you go out there and you live without a roof. If the rain rains on you, if the snow falls on you, it doesn't matter. And many of those places were tax funded or tax exempt. And for all my contribution, I got nothing back. It's a cold world out here, huh? And my tribe took care of me. The government wouldn't take care of me. Those shelters, those nonprofits wouldn't take care of me because I'm a man. You see, the idea that these SNAP benefits going out is going to like destruct women and families is ludicrous. The world takes care of women and families. It's the guys who might be on EBT or SNAP benefits who need to worry, because people will let a man die in the street.
No, I agree. I think no, I definitely, I think I can agree with you on that. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I was working on a book, and I actually took one of your I quoted you in my book, and one of your posts you had posted about emotional aggression versus intellectual aggression, and talking about how men are supposed to be intellectually aggressive and women tend to be emotionally aggressive, but men have always been intellectually aggressive. And I quoted that in one of my books, and I think it'll definitely help. I just think it's going to be chaotic very fast. It kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know. Maybe I was traveling too much. I wasn't watching the news, but I didn't hear no post or nothing. They just up and said cut, which is, I guess I am a big advocate of, do for self. That's what I believe in a principle, but I don't believe the average person is smart enough to take care of itself. It just happens like that. They just don't have.
For me, it'll be a holiday. I think this will be one of the greatest days in Black American history. It'll be a holiday for me. It'll be an absolute holiday. I'm so happy about this time. People will learn the value of a dollar, both male and female. Women will learn the value of a provider and a husband and a leader and a protector. It'll be a beautiful time. I just hope that it lasts. That's my only fear, is that it won't last. I hope that they take the EBT and never bring it back. My only fear is that I know that it won't last, and that is why we need the revolution.
I think, yeah. I think it just needs to be. I think it needs to be replaced, or let the people keep the money. You just need to have some different way to allocate it. I do believe. I don't know, because the trickle down theory never really worked. You know what I'm saying? When the people at the top had to trickle down, unless it was from people from your tribe. So unless it was people that you knew personally that would look out for you. But if you're talking about just giving money to the rich at the top, they're not going to trickle it down to people who they have no relation to. They're going to trickle it down to people they know. Only the people it'll
Correct.
benefit.
That's why we don't collect. That's why you don't collect it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that we don't collect the taxes. It's just not necessary. There should be no income tax whatsoever. And that's how America started, with no income tax. I respect a tax on consumption. If you have a sales tax, I think that's fine. And the state and the Fed need to split that, and it should not exceed 10%. And there's just a flat tax on consumption. That's actual equality. And then that can be allocated to things that are actually critical. Then we'll be in good shape. But what we have to acknowledge, and here's the problem, is human beings have trouble acknowledging, especially females, equality is not a real thing. That's a lie. There's no equality. That's a lie. It's the most ludicrous concept. Equality. Nonsense. There's only hierarchy in everything. So what we have to acknowledge is some people will be comparatively poor. Some people will be comparatively wealthy. Now, there are some situations wherein things are obscene. Elon Musk's wealth, that's obscene. There's something clearly wrong. And that kind of wealth can only be accumulated with the help of the government. The government's been giving him breaks and subsidies, and that's why he's been able to get that wealthy. Not because he's that bright. It's because the government has been giving him favors. Government needs to be reduced in size. Government needs to have people who are servants, not people who are trying to serve themselves. And then things will return to a greater level of sanity, and there will still be hierarchy. There'll be rich, there'll be middle class, and there'll be poor. But here's the kicker. The rich won't be too rich, and the poor won't be too poor. And anyone, if they would apply themselves and be industrious, can rise up that hierarchy. And not everyone will, and that's okay, because life is not about being rich. Life is about being happy.
I agree. I still think, I know I'm going to pivot a little bit, go back to the point. I think even with like education, and like I know you disagree with a lot of the school system as well, but I think even when schoolings, I feel like some of the stuff, some things need to be capitalistic, but some things need to be more communistic. Or like even education shouldn't be based just off of the money to afford it. Education should be based off your merits. You know what I'm saying? Education should be competitive. Like in Ghana, school is competitive. It's not so much about how much money you make. It's about how smart you are and how well you score. Those are the people who get the opportunities in schools. But many times, if you don't have the funds, you see what I'm saying? I feel like the education of it is, it kind of, and it can work. And I agree with you on the point of the tribe, but the education of it will, if you have it leaning towards this way and they already have all the money, there's going to be no redistribution except to the people who already have it, the people who already got out. The redistribution is not going to work in that manner.
Wait, I don't believe in redistribution. That's my whole point, is that there should be no redistribution. There shouldn't even be anything to distribute. When taxes are collected, it should be very clear. We're collecting these taxes. We're allocating 10% to roads. We're allocating 10% to public education, which is consisting of primary education primarily. So from early childhood all the way through to maybe we'll give you 12th grade, maybe. So we're allocating to that. We're allocating some to public salaries for public servants. We're allocating some to run certain things, bureaucracies like the DMV. But beyond that, there's nothing else to allocate to. And you'll know where your money gets allocated. That's the problem. They steal your money in taxes. You don't even know where it's going. Half of it's going to Israel, and you don't even know it. So it's like, no, we're not about to send our money to Argentina. We're not about to send our money to Israel. Absolutely not. So the idea of reallocation, that's the most foolish thing. If these people were meant to have money, they'd have it, especially in America. This is not Somalia. This is the United States of America. I know for sure you can be born poor and black and make it to the top. I know because I did it.
No, I agree. And I think you're right. Yeah, they should take it away. They need to disrupt the whole IRS system for real, for real. It's all outdated. You know, it's all outdated. It don't really work no more. You know what I'm saying? That's why it takes them so long to do everything, because you got 12-year-olds who are more sophisticated than them in some manners. You know, I agree. You know, I think it is going to be good. You know, I agree with you. I think it will be good. I was thinking, I got family members, and but I agree that it should be good overall.
And that's all I'm saying is take care of your people, man. Take care of your people. And here's the thing. If you can't take care of your people, then we need to start thinking about, well, how did that happen? Like, for example, My grandmother had 9 children. If you have 9 kids, you don't need Social Security if you did a good job as a parent, even a decent job. Let's say you have 9 kids, 4 of them are idiots. They don't do anything right. And you have 5 who did well. You say, okay, I don't need the government. I'll tax you guys. I got 5 kids. Tell you what, each of you guys give me $500 a month. That's $2,500 a month. Cool. I don't have to work. I'm retired. I'm your mother or your father. I'm retired. You give me $2,500 a month collectively. That's if you had kids and 40% were imbeciles. Just imagine if you did a better job and you had 9 kids and all 9 of them were working adults. You say, okay, don't give me $500, give me $400 a month. 9 kids? Woo, you rolling in the dough. That's a good retirement. But the problem is that people are living in unnatural ways. They're having 0 kids. They're having 1 kid. They're having 2 kids. That's not appropriate. That's why all of the people who are part of this thing of ours, Assassin, I say, oh man, repopulate the earth. We need the good people to repopulate the earth. The problem is the imbeciles. It's the ratchets. It's the sexy reds will repopulate the earth and have 8 kids. It's the dumb guys, the Pookies will have 9 kids. We think Pookie's an idiot. Pookie is actually a genius. Because Pookie has spread his seed. He is the fittest. Survival of the fittest is about propagating your DNA. He's the fittest. He's a genius. And people disparage him because they're jealous, because they were not able to spread their seed like he did. Pookie's a genius. Boy, Pookie a genius. He's something serious, man. Y'all got to stop sleeping on Pookie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually I got 2 kids myself, and I plan on having more once I get more.
There you go.
Stable.
Yeah.
Stuff, more.
Well, while the welfare system is still going, bro, you might as well just keep it going. You don't even need to get stable. See, that's my whole point, is that the good people, you use your brain. You say, okay, I need to get stable, so I'm going to wait and have kids. The dumb people, the evil people, the wicked, promiscuous women, they don't think any of that. They think, I'll have more kids. The government will pay for it. The government will steal money from Marquett and give it to me. I'll be fine. And there's no ratchet women out here thinking about, I'm going to wait till I get my money right. Hell nah. They money completely not right. They still having kids. Pookie's a genius.
I agree.
Yeah. Shout out to the Pookies. Shout out to Pookie, Tyrone, and Jamal. They're geniuses. People don't even realize that. Shout out to Ernest, came and supported the work using the Stripe link. I appreciate you. May I also acknowledge via PayPal. Shout out to Ray. He writes, peace of Saints tuition to the big homie, Assassin Bay Area. Also, totally agree with Assassin having as many children as they can. I have now accomplished 4 home births, catching all 4 of my children out of the womb. Assassin, bro, I'm going to need to talk to you, man, in a real way. The Lady Saints are actually going to have education from a doula, I think it's called, which is a woman who delivers babies, in the comfort of your own home. Shout out to Michael supporting the work. Appreciate you. And that's the kind of stuff that we're building. We're building real community. We invite those of you who actually are natural human beings to join this thing of ours. You can go to thesassin.com, THESASN.com. Now is the perfect time to join, because on the 1st, which is right around the corner, we have new member orientation. We basically hear a little bit about who you are, tell you about the organization, and give you access to our private Discord. And then you can meet up with folks, because we have sections all throughout the planet Earth. People meet up in real life. Above all, they exercise, socialize, and do all this other stuff. And of course, the education. I yield the floor to you.
Yeah. No, I think you had a good, I know I agree with you on most things. It seems like you have a good point on the part that I didn't agree with you on. You made a really solid point on that. I definitely, no, I agree with you. And I definitely, hopefully, I could chop it up. Hopefully we can maybe do another Discord. I did want to go ahead and get them, meet you, because I see a lot of them talk. I've seen a lot of different influencers talk, and many influencers I disagree with on many ways. Mm-hmm. But I always used to shout out to you, one, because, you from Baltimore, you Black. It was just the same other people be talking about. It was just, you very relatable. And a lot of times some people talk about stuff, you can tell they're not speaking from a place of when they actually know. You know what I'm saying? They actually probably didn't really grow up around Black people. They didn't actually spend that much time around Black people. They didn't spend that much time dealing with them. So you can tell they're speaking from a point of, they're looking at it. They're looking at the jungle from the outside. You know what I'm saying? They're looking at the jungle, but they never actually had to be in the jungle. so they don't actually know. So I definitely appreciate you, and the work you're doing. Just keep doing it. If I ever do, I definitely, if I find something else I can, debate you on, I'll definitely try to come a little bit more prepared next time. Definitely try to get
No,
that
it's
going.
it was a pleasant conversation. I think that it's always a great experience for people to witness honorable men engage in dialogue and lift one another up and have a chance to, test out ideas in a respectful way. And at the end of it, be able to shake hands and collaborate and still continue in friendship and harmony. That's an important thing. So I appreciate you coming on and giving us your time and being respectful of the platform. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to go make it out to Burton Plantation sometime. I see the links online, so hopefully one day I'll get subscribed and I'll go ahead and if I can make it out there sometime on one of these. If you have something going on in one of the countries, I travel a lot, so if I have something going
Good.
on, I'd love to link up. Definitely just stay in communion with good groups and good tribes, and try to just be connected with good people who are interested in growth.
Yes, sir. And for everyone watching who doesn't know, we have Saints Weekend coming up. That's going to be the weekend of December 14th. I'll be hosting that here at Burton Plantation. It's a phenomenal time. We kind of smash New Year's and Christmas into one, minus the paganism. But it's a beautiful event. It's co-ed. There'll be men and women there. We also have the Drip Trip is in February. And that's where we fly across the world to some excellent tailors that we've already curated. We get the drip together, this suit custom made from the Drip Trip. And also I am putting on a much smaller conversation and conference in January, which I haven't talked about much. And that'll be for Black peoples of the earth. So it's talking specifically about Black issues. So folks, do keep tapped in. If you need information to any of those things, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. My team will get back with you and give you all the information. Do you have any words before we get out of here?
No, that was about it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for, sharing ideas, and hopefully we can continue to share ideas. I definitely just keep doing what you're doing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep supporting, keep being righteous. You know what I'm saying? And just don't derail. Don't let nothing derail you from what you got going on. But you seem like you're doing the right thing, and I'm right behind you. I'll be up there in a second.
I appreciate you. Peace to the saints. Until
All right,
next
man.
time.
Peace.